Hello and welcome to the fourth brief video on how to draw British birds during the coronavirus lockdown. I'm hoping that some of you are learning a new skill and learning how to draw our British birds. The bird we're going to draw today is called a Great Tit. It's a very common bird, certainly as on our bird feeders. Small, quite aggressive at times to each other anyway, and very keen to come and visit our bird feeders. So what we need to do is we need to start with quite a large oval shape, and we're going to add an oval overlapping that, which is going to be about a third of the size of the bird. And if you imagine that S shape in there, if that S shape is visible, then you know that you've got something right. We're going to place the eye about a quarter of the way into this top oval. We're going to have quite a large eye, and I'm going to make it slightly more oval than normal, and it's going to be staring straight down a very short beak relative to the size of the actual bird, and has kind of a slightly smiley face in there, like so. It's quite a sharp point to that beak. There is a nostril in this bird which is visible, but what we're probably going to be doing is adding a bit of a scoop in there anyway. Probably the best place to start is with the back of the head, which sometimes has a bit of a raised crest like so. It's quite a long head, comes in at an angle like so, and I think I'm going to make it slightly longer even than that. That's probably more like the kind of head we want. And what we've got is we've got a black coloration, and that's going to come in and then scoop up to halfway between the beak and the eye. And if we've got this correct, we should have this kind of pattern appear on the cheek. And remember, like I've done every other bird, everything radiates away from the eye, and so we'd expect some kind of shadowing over the top of the eye, because there's quite a brow on these birds, and that shadowing goes into the beak. So I'm still not quite happy with that. That's slightly better. That's much better. So the beak itself is kind of finished off with the throat of the bird, and this lovely black bib that's going to extend slightly outwards and then in and under the bird until it meets the legs. Now on the back of the bird, they're quite high backed, so we're going to add one section of feathers like so for the wing. I don't quite know why, but they've always got this little bit underneath here. And then we're going to add in another section, which is going to be those longer feathers, and then eventually towards the back we'll add our tail, actually normally sticking outwards a bit straighter than that. It's quite a lengthy tail, and the bottom comes in here, bit of scruffy feathering, and we're going to add one leg and then the other, and that's already looking a lot like a really cheeky, slightly aggressive Great Tit. So let's have a look at this eye. I'm going to colour the eye in. I'm using a 3B pencil here. It's probably not quite as sharp as it should be. I'm going to leave my sparkle in the eye to give my bird some character, and then I'm going to roughly etch in the line which kind of goes under the eye there and then works its way forward to the front of the face like so. Am I happy with that? Yes, I think I am. I think I'm going to put a little bit more into the eye because I want it to be darker than that, even though it's in a 3B. I think I've got too many layers of paper underneath. I'm going to add a slight light coloration around the eye, and now leaving a little bit of white just back here, I'm going to scruffily add in the feathering of my bird, and that to me is beginning to really look like a Great Tit straight away. I'm going to make sure that I put some good shading into the lower part of that black section, and now it doesn't really matter how I shade this in, although I do like things to radiate out from the eye. because to me it gives the bird some kind of texture. And then once I've gone over the brow of the eye, I better just make sure that I delineated all of these black sections, and off we go. So to me, straight away, if that's all I drew, then straight away I know that I would know that that is a great tit. And they're quite glossy birds. I mean, I've seen some really scruffy ones as well. So we can add a bit of shine in there too, by just leaving some blank sections. And there we have the head of a great tit. We'll come back and we'll colour it a bit more in a few minutes time. I think I'm picking up the grain of the table underneath, which is never quite a clever thing to do. So a little bit of white here, and a ruff of feathers, and then we're going to start adding in the wing. So as I mentioned, this section of feathers just underneath, and there's always a scruffy bit of feathering on all birds, small birds from the garden, that just sticks out from the chest here. I do like these long feathers because you can add as much as you want detail wise, like so, and they do arc over like this. Nobody's going to count them. I know I've said this several times before, and if they do, they're being very judgmental, unless of course you're trying to sell this work of art. And there we go. And a bit of realism. This back section is surprisingly green. Everybody thinks that birds aren't very green. There's lots of green birds, even in the UK. And there's some white feathers on the end of all that, so we can emphasize that by shading in just above them. Okay, so that's good. Now we're going to put in quite a lengthy tail made of a series of feathers, and there always seems to be a dark section under here where the bottom of the bird joins the tail. We do need to make sure we've added some shading underneath, which shows how the wing has interrupted the flow of everything else. Now, unusually I've left my beak. I think that's usually one of the first things I do, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. So obviously this is a slightly different drawing than I'd normally draw. Put a nostril in. It's quite a dark, glossy bill. Okay, that's looking very much like a great tit. So we are going to finish our picture off in literally just a few seconds, because of the way I've drawn the bird. So the yellow from the other side, from this breast, will also be showing. It'll scoot right under here to where the wings are. Let's give a bit of shading to show that our bird is three-dimensional. It's darker underneath. Here's the leg, the second leg underneath, and now I would normally be moving my paper around. I'm very aware that if I move it, it suddenly goes out of the camera, and that's not much use to anybody who's trying to see how I do this. I'm actually going to add the front foot first, and the reason for this is because the way these birds would be looking at us, there's going to be a toe that's going to stretch literally over in front of the other one. So I've not really got room to draw the toes in, so here we go. There's 1, 2, 3, and then behind that, easy to add this one toe in here, but this one, maybe just the claw will be visible. And the same there. So no detail there whatsoever. This is just a sketch, and let's give it something that it's holding on to. A piece of wood. And I don't know about you, I think we've drawn ourselves a very nice looking great tit. Maybe make its tail a little bit longer. I'm just going to play now, aren't I? So maybe I should stop while the going's good. But I hope you enjoyed drawing one of those, and hopefully you get to see one out the window too. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.